Huawei SN-P6 represents the Chinese smartphone manufacturer's biggest attempt yet to join the Android elite. It boasts a level of design and a range of quality innovative features that are many ways worthy of Samsung, HTC, LG, and Sony at their best. Despite this, it's not quite in the same category as the absolute top spec beasts such as the HTC One, the Samsung Galaxy S4, and Sony Xperia Z. In fact, its 4.7-inch 720p display and 8-megapixel camera is closer in raw specs to the likes of the Google Nexus 4 and Samsung Galaxy S3. There's even a magic touch feature that enables you to use the phone with your gloves on, which is a fantastic thing to have when you live in generally chilly country like UK. The most notable thing on the control front is the lack of physical or capacitive control keys. Rather, Huawei is one of the few third-party manufacturers to follow Google's lead and opt for virtual buttons built into the UI. There is also a microSD slot with the partly 8GB of internal storage available. The additional memory is sorely needed for music fans, gamers, and power users. 8GB definitely won't be enough, so we're extremely glad that Huawei included a microSD slot. Yeah, even if accessing it powers a little friendly. The Huawei SN-P6 runs on Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean, which is the latest version of Google's mobile operating system. While Huawei has layered on its own Emotion UI, it still benefits from the optimization made to the core OS, and swiping between the home pages are through apps feels of the most part buttery smooth. Huawei's Emotion UI is one of the cleaner custom efforts we have seen from Android manufacturers, though it doesn't quite match up to the level of fit and finish found in the Huawei's Ascend P6 hardware. It's certainly not without its fault, chiefly in the shape of some poorly executed and thoroughly unnecessary custom apps which will be discussed later, but at least the core navigation experience is very sick. As with the hardware, Huawei appears to have looked to Apple when it comes to software. Not only do the Square app follow smack of iOS, but Huawei has taken the unusual step of removing the Android app tray. This may take some getting used to for a long-time Android user, but it's really no great hardship. Google's search function to locate specific app installed are on your device. One thing that feels like a missed opportunity given the lack of an app drawer button in the size of fixed app bar at the bottom of the screen. Another notable feature of Emotion UI is the choice of themes you have. Enter the themes app, you will be presented to the 5 possible skins stored locally on your handset. Each of them represents a background skin and complementary stock app icons as well as a unique lock screen configuration. You can also customize each element of the skin. So, for example, you might want the whole lock screen for its 4 unlock shortcuts. The rest have 2, but prefer the Apple SQ pre-iOS 7 brushed aluminum style of the default taste theme. There are also a bunch of additional themes that can be downloaded on your phone, expanding the potential of personalization considerably. It feels a little like downloading a new launcher each time. Huawei's own ME widget, which occupies your home screen by default, is a bit of mixed bag. It is a mishmash of basic functions that occupies a good 2/3 of the screen. The weather section is functional but ugly, while the 2 preferred contacts shortcuts are reasonably useful. The picture book provides a nice automated carousel of your pictures, but it seems strange that it doesn't also provide a shortcut to the gallery itself. Most if not all those functions that can be better handled by the individual widgets, but at least it's a small matter to delete and replace them through the time-honored Android method of pressing and holding on a blank area of the home screen. As we made reference to already, the Huawei's P6 adopts Google's preference for virtual navigation buttons. However, physical quantities equivalents unlike the SN-P2, Huawei SNG510, so it's wisely to keep the Android functionality related to these keys pretty well untouched. You get the choice of 9 functions in the horizontally scrolling submenu, including Wi-Fi, GPS, and screen brightness. You can customize these from a permanently available more option. As discussed, the lock screen changes according to the theme of your own preference, but the best one contains 4 drag to active shortcuts for home screen, camera, messaging, and phone. If you are playing a music track through the default music app, or more likely Google Music, then you'll get pause and skip command shortcuts added to the lock screen too. Besides the strong Android 4.2.2 foundation and relatively light Emotion UI skin, the Huawei P6 has a benefit of 1.5 GHz quad-core CPU with 2 GB of RAM to keep things ticking along smoothly. The Huawei P6 handled a range of 720p and 1080p MP4 and H.264 video files admirably, but its main strength on the video front is its 4.7-inch and 720p HD display. It's not the biggest or the sharpest smartphone screen we have encountered in the 2013, but it's still a very nice phone with a nice screen and very HD video playback indeed. Viewing photos on the Huawei P6 is generally pleasant experience, again thanks to that bright 4.7-inch 720p display and the phone's capable camera. The gallery app itself is a fairly bare bones effort, though through it you access photos, videos, and even any movies you might have installed on the phone. The photos and videos are all squeezed together into the same folder, and we would have preferred a little more separation here. Still, the general thumbnail preview page is initiative and quick loading. It's pretty easy to jump to the image if you want to see. And there are also 4 fairly self-explanatory tabs for adding some kind of order to your images: album, time, location, and people. Entering the people tab will run some facial recognition software, allowing you to tag individual faces, though in our experience it didn't pick up on all of the faces in our collection, such as those which are snapped at a bit of an angle. You can do a spotlight of a picture editing from the gallery too. Just enter an image and go into the menu to access an edit option that lets you crop, straighten, rotate, filter, and add effects or borders to your image. There's a DLNA app pre-installed for hooking up your TV, console, or any other compatible device, which implies to pushing the video out too. The Huawei P6 2000 mAh battery is about right for a modern quad-core smartphone with a bright 720p HD display, sitting somewhere between the similar Samsung Galaxy S3 and the HTC One X. That this battery size didn't impact on this device below average size and weight is attributed to the Huawei's engineers. For one thing, it utilizes the Huawei's quick power control, which optimizes the power usage. Huawei also claims that the packing all the antenna equipment into the plastic section of the bottom of the device preserves battery life. There is also issue with gaming apps. For one thing, complex 3D titles such as Real Racing 3, Reckless Racing 2, Rise of Blobs seems to struggle for performance on the Huawei P6. Whether this is a compatibility issue that will be corrected with a simple driver update or individual developers tweaks, or more serious case of Huawei's GPU solution not being up to the task, we don't know. We'll have to wait and see on this front, but hardcore mobile games might want to hold off until matters become clear. Sticking with games, many don't seem to take into account those virtual controls when playing HD video. They'll dip into the background, but that's not always the case with games, shortening the game field of little and generally getting in the way. The Huawei P6 shows that the Chinese manufacturer can really make an impression on the Android market with its stunning slim design. if slightly derivative design as well as some quirky features that mark it out as little bit different. However, Huawei needs to bring its software design up to the same high standard if it's truly to compete at the very top of the game. Ultimately, you'll struggle to find an upper mid-range Android phone anywhere near as well built or as stylish as this. But for a little bit more money, you can treat yourself to a truly high-end device. The Ascend P6 may be the Huawei's flagship device, but it's not the smartphone which will find itself as the top of smartphone tree. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe, like and comment, and be sure to tune in on my next video. Peace out.